Hello everyone, this video is the consequence of the comments that you put on my channel regarding the situation of Unai Emery and Arsenal. And I'm reacting because unlike other platforms, YouTube has become a place to discuss things. So most of you have had really good points that have made me think, and this is the response to them. This is in some cases, how can I put it, analysis that comes from research, from having worked at it, notes that I've got here prepared for you. So let me get into it, and you at least will try to understand. And sorry, I've got no tripod, so it's moving a little bit this. But you'll try to understand where I'm coming from, because my impression and my conclusions, a lot of you don't agree with. But let me come back on some of the things that you've been saying, and let me tell you what I feel the situation is. The first thing to say, I think, let's look at the calendar. Southampton, Eintracht Frankfurt at home, Norwich away, Brighton at home, West Ham away, Standard Liège away. Quite clearly, if Arsenal doesn't win enough games in that period, there is a huge problem, despite all what I'm going to tell you next. But I have the impression that this could be a turning point for Arsenal. Would you all come back with the same ideas if we're talking about, 6 games, say 4 victories, 2 draws? Season could be turned in the next few weeks. So results are important, absolutely. But the decision that the club has taken of maintaining Unai Emery for now, pending results as always, is based in a lot of things that make a lot of sense. First of all, as you know, Raúl Sanllehy had a meeting with employees at the club that got leaked, and basically he was backing Unai Emery. Raúl Sanllehy, I believe, is one of those directors that do not get influenced by social media, doesn't get involved with social media, doesn't read it. So, and that I think is a healthy thing, because you have to take conclusions based on the information that you have. The fact that you meet Unai Emery every day, or literally every day, or the offices are very close, they constantly conversation with Edu, with Raúl Sanllehy and Unai, and that's what you should base your decisions on, and on responsibility. It's very easy to give opinions on what you think about the team, what you think about Ozil, about Xhaka, about everything else. But responsibility is in the hands of Raúl, of Edu, and of course of Unai Emery in the decisions that he takes with the lineup. Responsibility is important because it's easy, as I said, to say things on social media and other things, to take decisions. And decisions have to be taken with a lot of information and with context, and not to be influenced by what I call the noise around Arsenal right now. The timing is not determined by the fans or by the media. The timing of a decision is determined by, again, the conclusions that are taken based on the day-to-day work. If before Christmas, if after this period things don't work, of course the decisions will have to be taken, but it will be based, yet again, on what the directors see it's happening behind the scenes. You have to put everything in context, and I know context is something that people don't like because they want the things to happen now. But there was a total change of a structure 18 months ago with the departure of Arsene Wenger. There was a big change in terms of personnel at the squad, including 4 captains left. Hence the arrival of Xhaka as captain, which was perceived as the most professional of all the people around, the one who arrives the first and finishes the last. But okay, it hasn't worked out. But you don't know, with hindsight is a wonderful thing, you don't know if it's going to work until you prove it, or until you show it, until you make that decision. Perhaps it wasn't now seen as a great decision because of what happened after. At the point of taking the decision, which is a mixture of the coach and the players in a secret ballot, it was considered that Xhaka was the one that should be in charge. Now, the fallout of that, we still have to see. But what I'm trying to say is that there's been a lot of changes in the structure, changes in personnel within that structure at the club, but also changes in personnel in the squad. A lot of changes. To settle that, you need time. You absolutely need time. I know you don't have all the time in the world, but you need the time that has been given to Klopp at Liverpool or to Pochettino at Spurs for it to make an impression, for things to go the place where everybody wants them to go. That time is what Raúl Sanllehi and Edu and the club would like to give Unai Emery. But of course, results will dictate. It's difficult at the moment to find a good Arsenal for 90 minutes. It has been difficult for Unai Emery to find that point where the team shows the value and maximize the potential. It has not happened yet. They think it can happen. It's a leap of faith, as I said in the last video, but they think it can happen. Work has been put in that direction. As I said, in the middle of all that was the Xhaka situation, the Ozil situation, a lot of things that have disturbed the balance. But work has been put in the idea of a team with layers. At the moment, it's difficult to see, I admit that. And yes, I have been watching Arsenal. But the faith that the coach has got in the players will determine how far they can go, and the confidence of the players as well. Now, that's a key thing. Without confidence, you cannot play with the freedom that you like Arsenal to play. You cannot play with that freedom, then tension takes over, and then you don't see the best Arsenal. Is this team able to fight for top four? Well, maximizing to the maximum the potential of the squad last season, they almost made it to top four. But in this one, it feels like they haven't improved in terms of quality as much as others have. And that's obviously the competition that Arsenal have to face. The fact that there are teams willing to invest a lot as well and able to get top players. Arsenal had to make a big investment for Pepe because they didn't have, apart from Aubameyang, if you like, players that win games. So to get those players is what helps teams to win things, of course. Now, Pepe is in a process of adaptation, and you have to give it time. I know you don't want to because you want everything now, but you have to give those things time. Basically, what's important for the ones that take decisions is to actually remember where they're going, where they're coming from, and what path has been taken, and to stay in that path. And I know that in the middle of all noise, with all of you, a lot of you saying things have to change now, it may be difficult for some to take a distant look at it, unless, like Raúl Sanllehi, for instance, and I think Edu as well, they're not getting involved in social media. Fans are not the ones taking decisions at clubs, but fans can, of course, show the disapproval, which quite clearly a lot of you are doing. So imagine if Pepe starts playing at his level, if Ozil is used in key games or in important games. No, not key or important, forget that. In games in which the team is together. Not in counter-attacking games, not in games with high tempo, but in games where the team is together. He can affect things. Against teams that defend very deep, for instance, he can affect things. I don't think he's a player that should play every game for Arsenal at all. And I think a lot of you think of Ozil much more than I think of him and his impact on the side. He's been playing in recent games, not much has changed. So imagine if all this happens, and imagine if everybody starts realizing the potential and some of the players that have been injured start playing better. I know it's a lot to imagine because you want things to happen now, but if results come and those players start making an impact, then you may be talking about a different kind of season for Arsenal. But what has been how can I put it, the learning curve for Unai Emery, but also for Raúl Sanllehi, who arrived more or less at the same time, for Edu, who's just arrived as well, is that football is going towards physicality in terms of pace, strength, quick transitions, fight for second balls, a lot of that I feel Arsenal don't have. Now, you could have said, oh, well, they could have got those players already. But learning curve is what it is a learning curve. I think everybody has learned that that's what's needed. Perhaps that's what Arsenal will try to find from now on. Arsenal are lacking that, quite in my eyes, that physicality, that ability to play the football that is being now in the Premier League especially, being played, of strength, of, as I say, quick transitions, of pace, a lot of pace, of fighting for balls, that Arsenal doesn't have. So they need to improve on that. So, all right, they learn from it. They probably would like to get players that can do that. All that is part of that process that the team is going through. A process after a long period in which things were done in one way. Once you've got those physical players, most of them have to be physical and strong and pacey, then you can add quality players that perhaps are not so strong, but you can add a little bit of quality. And I think that's not what has been done with the squad of Arsenal, but maybe what it will be done from now on. Because then you'll be able to, as I said, add that extra layers of decision-making of quality, which is based on a foundation of physicality, if you like. And that is something that Arsenal don't have in the squad. Also, the likes of Raúl Sanllehi have, of course, learning how things go. He came with an idea what his job was, and now since Gazidis left, he's had to have more responsibility. Yet again, another process. And I think because everybody's going to a process, or is part of a process, it feels like the club have got more interest in giving time to Unai Emery, who's going through his own process as well. Those are boring words because you want it now. But process is what determines the foundations of a club. Now, it seems like the club feel that Unai Emery is the one putting those foundations for now. I put in brackets, always pending on results, but they understand that there's a process being made. It could well happen that if the results don't come, they take the conclusions that that process is not going at the pace that it should be going under the hands of Unai Emery. It may well happen that. Today, the impression is that he can get Arsenal speeding that process, getting results, importantly, and then helping all the processes that are taking place in the club to solidify and to establish a strong club. What else? It's been a strange season in the Premier League as well, because only the top 5 clubs have earned half of the points that have been in play. The rest haven't. That's never happened, I don't think, ever. Everybody's dropping points. Today, the crisis is at Spurs. Tomorrow, it'll be somewhere else, at Arsenal maybe. But you have to say is that everybody's dropping points. So losing 1 or 2 games shouldn't be a big crisis. Perhaps City and Liverpool, that win absolutely everything or almost everything, have disturbed the picture a little bit. Meanwhile, you look at the table and yes, Spurs are in difficulty. Arsenal, not so much. Not in as much difficulty as Spurs. And I reckon one of the priorities for Unai Emery now is to be strong at home. The draw against Crystal Palace and against Wolves, again, made people very unhappy. If you get victories at home, and there is, out of the games that I said, is 3 at home, Southampton, Eintracht Frankfurt and Brighton, you get the victories there, and perhaps the atmosphere will change a little bit. It all goes together. It's all part of a journey. But quite clearly, you want the journey to be speeded up. The club as well. The club are more patient than you are with Unai Emery, and that's what the conclusion they're taking. I'm explaining what they think, what I think they think, and this is what I agree with. Give the man time. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure you can put together a case to defend Unai Emery and what Arsenal are doing. With City, after City is the team that has taken more corners in the league. That means that they are attacking, but they are not attacking with the quality they would like. They have to improve on that. But if you take a couple of steps and breathe in and count 10, maybe, and results come and the performances improve, and as I said, the club have got faith that will happen, maybe we'll be talking about something else in the very near future. I reckon out of 5-6 games, 4 victories. 4 victories and at least 1 draw, maybe 1 defeat. Should we talk after that? Cheers.